You're listening to the Valley Current.
I miss you, man. I'm wondering who Joe Cucchiara is. You got a dot in your name now.
How you been?
Good. Some of these platforms, that's what we're talking about. This whole area of what is now being called PropTech. P-R-O-P.
Interesting, yeah.
I mean, right. I hadn't heard that term, PropTech.
I hadn't either.
FinTech, law tech,
right?
InsurTech. You know, we're hearing about all of these virtual delivery platforms that are designed to streamline the way people typically have gotten face-to-face office work done. I mean,
right.
It used to be you met with your real estate broker if you were selling a house. You sat down with them in the house. They sat down with you. You walked the property. You showed them things. They took pictures. It's a completely different sales model now. I mean, they do things in a completely different way. They don't really spend any face-to-face time, so far as I can tell.
Very little
with the actual client in or at the property, doing what I would call the in-depth, let's really understand your property. It's more like you give them the address, they think they can understand the property from looking at Zillow as one example of a big PropTech company. I mean, Zillow is certainly one of the biggest. There's others like Redfin and others, but just generally speaking, they think they've got all the data before they even visit the property. I mean, they will probably visit the property, but they're not spending what I would call a lot of face time, in-person time, or really any in-person time. It's almost like the in-person part of this is almost over, which is...
Well, this, and I could have been ahead of my time again, but this is kind of the premise behind Bundle Select and a lot of other companies that are trying to figure out, like, and don't get me wrong, I mean, there's value there to a certain extent, but with technology evolution, where we're going here, it used to be that the lock and key, if you wanted any information, you had to engage with a real estate agent, remember?
Right.
They had access to the MLS, they had access to the schools, they had access to, crime. And now, as a consumer, you have that at your fingertips.
Right. We've kind of created an approach where it's almost like self-service up to the point of actually the transaction. Now, if we use an analogy of the way cars are being sold, like Carvana and a host of others, you can actually get the car like from a delivery system that comes to your door. So you don't
Jack,
even go to the dealership, right?
I don't know if I shared with you, but I didn't want to interrupt you here, but I actually had my first transaction with Carvana.
Yeah, the reason I raise it is because I think there's analogies. It used to be a car was a major decision, major family, your personal decision, lots of cycles, lots of visits of dealerships, lots of kicking the tires, test driving it. Now it's like between one of them is called Drive Time and the other one's called Carvana. They're running a lot of ads all over the place.
Right.
And I don't know how well the business is doing, but it's essentially a direct to consumer market, DTC, direct to consumer. And the consumer is doing their own research without a sales professional getting a commission in the middle, which is for car salesmen, I got to believe the death bell or death knell for that.
Right.
The car salesperson, I guess we'll make it gender neutral. The car salesperson is probably history, just like you could argue the insurance salesperson might be history soon too.
Right.
And I'm just wondering, are we going to get there through property tech or PropTech, where to some degree you start wondering, well, what is the agent doing to get the kind of huge commission they want to get against this sales price.
Right.
What are they actually doing? They usually hire a staging company, which the seller could theoretically find and hire themselves, right?
Right.
But
That's
people
correct.
don't feel comfortable, maybe because they don't have access to the MLS, but there are some brokers that will give you discounted rates to get access to the MLS, the multiple listing service.
Right.
But with Zillow and with the ability to get a staging company, and the staging company can take pictures and the pictures can make their way to Zillow at some level, I just wonder, is the car buying experience kind of a preview of where the property buying experience is going? I mean, I think apartments, for renting apartments, I think it's actually very much like that. I think it's very, very direct approaches, right? Just a very...
Yeah, I think there's one major difference with the house, and especially if you're buying it, I guess if it's a rental property or investment, that may be a little different. But I think if a person's buying a home where they're going to live, I wonder what the percentage is, in other words, of someone buying a primary residence without physically seeing the property. That would be interesting to see what those statistics would tell.
Would they actually just buy without seeing it, like literally?
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know. Yeah, a primary residence, I would say no. Maybe if you've... Yeah, I still think that even though it's making a lot of progress, it is interesting. That's the first time I saw this PropTech when you sent it over. I'd never seen that either.
Right.
And so what is the, I read part of it, but what is their summary? They're basically in essence saying that with the improvement of technology, systems, processes, the ability of the consumer to have hands-on access to this, that more and more we're going to almost get rid of the human aspect of it.
Yeah, I think it gets to the point where you can even imagine that the property is going to be not subject to theft, right? Without somebody also there. You think about it?
Right.
I mean,
right.
The agents don't really send, they send like junior people, right?
Right.
They don't really send what you would say would be like their primo people. They send, somebody who's like almost a security guard kind of person. Like it's not really, right? It's not really anyone with any major role. Just generally speaking.
No, it isn't.
I mean, what I sent you that instigated this topic, and I'll open it up and put it on the screen, and you should be able to see it.
Yeah.
Is this picture of the way people are thinking the world of real estate, real property transactions is getting disintermediated by different tools and different things that are all going to be part of the real estate tech environment, from search to renting to property management to facility management to construction management. It goes over all these different spokes to the wheel of indoor mapping and so on. And it's sort of saying in so many words, we're headed to an environment where these tools are presumably all going to get linked together in some fashion. And, this is just the beginning of this picture, right? Zillow plays a big role. I guess there's other companies like Redfin, I mentioned, Trulia, Rent.com. Right. Like this whole search function, it's almost like the MLS is a footnote to the search function, right?
Right.
I mean, it's like all these other companies that have captured more and more information about what's available, and then is actually predicting the price, is actually predicting what's the expected price range for the property.
Right.
I mean, I don't know how accurate that is. I imagine that at some level it can be wildly inaccurate in certain properties. For example, there was something in the news I saw today that Elizabeth Holmes and Sunny Belwani, now both convicted felons, co-owned the property in Atherton that just sold for something like $16 million. They bought it, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago when all was going so well at Theranos. They're now convicted of those federal crimes. They're going to be sentenced in October. They sold it for like 16 million. They bought it for like 8 or 9. So they like doubled their money. Of course, they probably spent all that profit on their legal fees, and they still lost the case. So that's got to really hurt. Right. And they lived in this swank place in Atherton. And I wondered, like, that's a $16 million sale. I think they listed it for 19 million.
Wow.
And so, did I send it to you? It was published in some journal that this property in Atherton sold for what was considered kind of a discounted price for Atherton, because because Atherton's like such a expensive zip code. It's like the most
sought after area.
Yeah, it's the most sought after area. I never really understood what was so great about it, because it doesn't really have any views. It's just north of Palo Alto and right before Redwood City. It's kind of tucked in there. I don't know if you've ever driven into. It's not that big.
I have. No, it's not.
It's got.
I wonder what the appeal. Maybe because it is so small and boutique-y. I don't know.
Yeah. It's got a circus club, which is like a riding club, horse riding club, like polo club. So it's got some amenities, but it doesn't have like a community pool. It's not like Palo Alto, where you say, well, you've got a Stanford in Palo Alto or near Palo Alto. You got the full Stanford facility. Then you got a couple of different pools in Palo Alto. There are public pools, public community centers, that sort of thing. It doesn't have anything like that. This is a private club, for private horse skills. But the reason I raise it is because I don't know if you've watched the series that's playing on Hulu. It's called The Dropout, about Elizabeth Holmes.
No.
Oh, it's really, really well done, Joe. It's worth.
Oh, I have to see it.
It's worth getting a subscription to Hulu. They specially commissioned it. It tells the detailed story of how they built that company on a series of frauds. And the only reason I raise it is because apparently they were doing so well at the company, and they got such relatively big salaries, I guess, to be able to afford this $9 million house. I mean, I don't know what kind of financing it had on it, but fintech is part of the story here too, right? If you think about PropTech and Bundle Select, I mean, you've envisioned Bundle Select like probably over a decade ago, the original vision, right?
Yeah, I think the kind of the idea that slowly but surely, and maybe the answer to part of this, and I guess the question I would have, as I look at this kind of this hub and spoke or wheel, how do you think this plays into? Is this like a subset of blockchain, or is this blockchain maybe we're looking at it a different way?
I think it's a way of saying that the blockchain could come into this ecosystem and try to assure the validity of everything that's actually posted on each of these things. Like you could theoretically
almost say, got it.
Almost like a verification system that's layered on top of this, or that this is built on, because you could argue each one of these companies is got a team of people that are doing a bunch of work to make sure that these systems all work. You could argue future with blockchain and with folks that are working for incentives that are called cryptocurrencies, enable some of these ideas to be self-sustaining based upon the work of these other workers. Like Bundle Select, you have to have programmers, you have to have artists, you have a whole team of people. I mean, I'll put that up just so people can see it, or we can see it again. I mean, Bundle Select, there's a lot of moving parts to making sure, just like Zillow, there's a lot of moving parts.
That's true.
And it generates a big overhead. right? It generates a big
Right.
cost function. And so if you can imagine a future in which there are gig workers who basically are willing to work in exchange for a crypto incentive, and that you could somehow launch and take advantage of. So I see you've actually changed your website. I haven't been to the website in a while, so I'm going to put it up. It looks like now you're more, because you are, and you've been in this PropTech space, albeit with a slant now of employee real estate platform is what the subtext is for Bundle Select, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's exactly what it is. Yeah, so we partner with corporations, so they offer their employees, as if you can imagine, as medical, dental, 401k, and this is a big benefit for them too. They have the opportunity to save on any kind of real estate transaction, including relocation.
So what happens if I say request a demo? Do you take an email address and that becomes a personal ride, or because this looks like it's saying a pitch to employers, or is this a pitch to the employees?
That's a quick video of the kind of the model. This is a quick video that kind of takes you through the model and the simplicity of what, if you click on that, it'll kind of take you through. It's a little less than a minute and a half.
Let's see.
Studies show that homeownership is associated with many financial and social benefits, but it's also one of the most expensive and stressful decisions you'll ever make. What if you could offer a benefit that would save your employees money and simplify the process of buying, selling, or refinancing a home? As an employer, wouldn't you want that competitive advantage? Introducing the Bundle Select Employee Real Estate Platform, a no-cost service that gives employees access to top-rated realtors, lenders, and title companies all in one place. By bundling services and guiding employees through every step of the transaction, we dramatically simplify the home buying, selling, refinancing, or relocating process while saving employees 25% on typical market transaction fees. With just a few details about a purchase or sale, our concierge team will assemble the perfect mix of bundled service providers and act as a customer advocate throughout the whole process from start to finish. Whether you're an HR manager or in talent acquisition, you're always looking for new ways to offer more competitive benefits, like healthcare plans, 401k match, and other cost-saving perks. Now you can save your employees money on one of the biggest expenses of their lives, home ownership. Help your employees achieve the American dream at no cost to your business. Bundle Select, the employee real estate platform. It's home made easy.
So is it pitching mostly to the employer? That's what I'm getting from it. It's mostly to the employer.
Yeah.
Like the employer would say, if we can add this to our portal, and I don't hear anything about licensed brokers at all in this. It sounds more like you're assembling a team. Does that include a licensed broker, or how do you?
It does. Yeah, it does. So what we do is we contract. It doesn't make any sense for us to start a real estate company or be a bank or so we're really the kind of the conduit, if you will, or the lead aggregator. We assign it to a lender and a real estate. In this case, it's we have a national partnership with eXp Real Estate. So it goes to one of their team members, and then one of our lenders basically build a profile and they go to work with them. Some of them are ready to go right away, and others are going to take some time.
So when you see how this goes, do you get integrated right into the HR benefits platform? Like literally you get sticky right into the portal that includes things like, hey, you get vacation days and 401k.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
It's right in there. In each company's intranet, you have these buttons. Typically, if you look at kind of the generic, once you log in the intranet, they have all these categories, right? Medical, dental, benefits, blah, blah. And then you might see, our category is usually under real estate benefits, and they click on that, and then Bundle Select would be one of the options that they have.
Oh, and they put other things too, like they put in some real estate brokerage firm names, that sort of thing?
Yeah, some other banks that give discounts, but it's usually pretty minimal. The benefit of this, of course, is the bundling of services, and you only work with one time, one group, and you're not out. The other real benefit of this too, we hear the most is that, the team is assigned and there's no, a lot of times when you fill out information, what happens, you get bombarded by emails and phone calls. You don't know who's calling you or emailing you. Right. So the other benefit of this is this taken care of. They basically we vet out everybody and then assign the team, and then the employee works with the team.
Right. And it sounds like the one thing you're underscoring here is the technology in your mind can go pretty far, but you still got a trust issue that is going to require some hand-holding. You call it the concierge in your parlance. Other people would call it the real estate agent, who in turn, I guess, get various inspection services to go and really try to take a close x-ray of the property and see what needs to be done. But your point that you made, a few minutes ago earlier in this is, will people actually do a deal without actually showing up to the property to see the property, kick the tires, do all the stuff that Carvana and Drive Time are saying they don't have to worry about, because they could return the car in 7 days. They could actually drive the car for 7 days. And if they don't like it, no questions asked. Of course, can't be in an accident or anything. They get to return it. It's like having 7 days free usage of the car. Albeit I think most people, once they feel like they got the right financing and the right lease and all the other financial issues squared away, it probably would have to be a real problem car for them to decide to unwind all that, right?
I would think. Yeah, I would think. Yeah.
Because the inertia.
And it's likely they did their. I think the other thing, it's likely that they've done their research in advance and actually test drove these cars, maybe even before they actually pulled the trigger online, right?
No, I think the way they're advertising it is you can literally go online, you can see what you can afford, you can get a list of cars that they're recommending for whatever you clicked. If you clicked, I want, stick shift and blah, 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 sporty car, convertible. There's only a certain number of cars that are going to match that.
Right.
It's a little bit like how people do real estate searches. They probably first figure out like what part of this country do you want to live in, or California, where Northern California, where in Northern California. Well, I want something that's really got views. Well, that's not Atherton.
I was on the sales side of Carvana. I sold, the market is still really crazy for used cars, but I kind of hit the peak of the market. I was selling my BMW, and you go on Carvana and they make it real simple. You enter information and they come back and give you a price. And that, by the way, that price could change from day to day. So you have to be careful. And once they give you the price, you have 48 hours to accept it. And so I sold it that way, and they came by and picked up, bought a flatbed truck with them, picked up the car and cut a check right there.
Wow.
I mean, I had a wonderful experience, to be honest. I thought it was great. I'm one of these people. I mean, I like to do my research because I think it's important, but the idea of driving to 5 or 6 or 10 different autos, that's just crazy, right? Look at Tesla, perfect example. I got 7,000 more than the market said it was worth.
Wow.
Because that was the time during COVID when I guess used cars were in demand. I guess they still are. So
Joe, how do people reach you?
Yeah, the best way is really through cell phone number 408-838-9060. And that would be, of course, for those interested in financing, or more importantly, too, anyone's listening to this podcast that's running a company, they have benefits company or HR people, they want to sign up or find out more about Bundle Select, that'd be the best way to reach me.
Okay, Joe, good luck.
Thanks, Jack. We'll be in touch.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Tune in next time on the Valley Current.